All right, everybody, welcome back to Aligning with Success with Mike and Dave. This is week 22, according to my notes. I'll check with that, but I think it is week 22 of our year, although we may have missed an episode due to some type of a holiday or something in between. So let's just say it's week 22. And last week, we didn't have an official meeting agenda because we were still looking at finishing the series with Dave, but we did cover a lot of stuff, and I thought it was really, really important stuff, particularly with respect to the ABC and the biggest fear or slash objection. And I hope you all watched the link that I posted on the chats with who was it? It was Richard Brook. He had it was almost as if he was listening to our call. I wouldn't doubt it because this has happened to me more than one time with him. So I think maybe he subscribed to our channel or something. But anyway, he had a commentary almost exactly about what we talked about, which was the idea of people needing to look good and wanting to look good, their reputation, in other words, being on the line, and hence that being a fear factor joining a network marketing business. Does this make them look somehow less than the reputation they've earned? And I think it's really important that we take a stand on that. We as leaders make a decision. Are you a proud network marketing professional, or are you apologetic for being in the network marketing profession? And that has everything to do with not what you tell me, but what you're telling yourself, or on a subconscious level, what you're projecting when you're meeting with somebody. So if you have some reservations about this as a profession, then I think what you need to look at is areas that you can improve that belief system and do some reading. I think it's important as a professional that you kind of know what's going on in the industry and be professional about it. Read about it, read about the industry, read books about the profession, join groups. I'm on Richard's group, Richard Bliss. I'm on Eric Worre's group. So whenever they post or publish something, I'm on. Uh, he's two guys, but he's really one guy. Um, it'll come to me, but he's one of the more profound network marketing gurus in our industry. And so I pay attention to what I'm on a chat with I forget the name of this company. I'll look it up as well on social media, but World Business from Home. And it's basically conversation among professionals about the profession and bullets and nuggets and things like that. I'm tapped into that because I think it's important as a professional in the industry. I'm aware of what other professionals are doing, talking about, etc. And as I mentioned to you guys, I think I mentioned to you guys last week, I'm also following a young chap in Europe who I just saw his posts over the last 24 hours of all of his rank advancements in all of his, what their precious metals or whatever they call them, gems and stuff. And it's mighty impressive. He posted their stats for the last quarter. They did a campaign. They got everybody enrolled in a campaign and did it for the last quarter. And if I shared these numbers, you'd be embarrassed because we don't even come close to what they're doing, and they're only like 4 or 5 years old. So we need to pull our socks up and get busy. So I had proposed last week, Dave. I mentioned that we had talked about this, and you had suggested that we get 100 ABC calls in. And so I made the decision last week to say, hey, let's make June a month that we actually measure how many ABC calls this group generates through either through a ABC call with Dave or an ABC call with me or the ABC call on Thursday night. We're going to measure that. We're going to keep score. So Dave, you keep score of any ABC calls that this group's bringing to you. I'll keep score the same. And of course, we'll keep score for the Thursday night as to who's doing what. And the goal here, guys, is not necessarily to win a prize, although Dave, you and I can talk about that. Maybe we can chip in something and make the prize worth going for. But it's really about the team generating activity, and the most measurable thing that leads to results is ABCs, aka the three that Leo had on and joined. They all joined, yeah, Leo? Yeah. By the way, what ended up happening with that run? Where'd you go, Leo? There you are. How did it go with the people enrolled?
I have a star, Robert. You know Robert?
Yeah.
He made 30 contacts last week, and I do 30 ABC with him.
Wow.
We sign
So
up two, one ABC with you, Mike, until
yeah,
Friday afternoon, and another one Thursday night. She signed up too, and another one I made Wednesday sign up, but I don't finish 30 contact with him on 1 week.
that's a launch.
Yeah. He want to be
That's a
his goal for this month is to be gold,
Yeah,
not
good
silver,
goal,
gold.
not
Yeah,
silver. Good goal. Okay, good.
yeah.
That's really good. Smart. That's business 101 in launching a network marketing business. Well done. Cheryl, you have your hand up.
Yes, hello there, everybody. I just want to see if I can get some clarity. Okay, so the ABCs. Now, how much exposure do they need to have before they come for the to be the C? Can they watch something on the rhythm? Can I send them a video? What are the
Yeah.
criterias?
Okay, so essentially, the Thursday night call presumes that they have enough understanding of the business, of the opportunity, that they're going to come with questions. It's not presentation mode, it's Q&A mode. Our job is to interface with them, interact with them, and extract from them what they understand, what they see as potential or possibility, and help them come to some decision around that. So that means you have exposed them not just to the products, but to the opportunity as well, have had some conversation about it. And then our job on Thursday night is to turn that into a decision as to how they want to approach this, and we're going to give them some suggestions as how to get started.
Okay, so I can use that 15-minute video that you did from the
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, and I also have a question for Leo if he's up for it.
Just pause for a second. So there is a 15-minute video that was a recording of my segment in one of the Niken events recently, and it was posted on. I don't even remember what was posted, Cheryl, but maybe you can share it with the group on the WhatsApp chat, which one we're talking about, so that it's fresh and everybody has access to it again.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thanks. Okay, and so with respect to ABCs, where Dave and I are concerned, again, presumably they have enough information so that they're not waiting for us to present, but they're waiting to meet us to learn more about Niken from our point of view and answer some questions that they may have and that we may prompt. Our goal is to, really get them to a place of saying, yeah, this sounds like this could be really good for me. And obviously, if they don't know enough, they won't get to that conclusion. And so you kind of spent the fuel of that ABC fruitlessly. So it's important you get them ready for that call. Cool. Dave, back to you. Where are we
Well,
at?
I just got back from Alaska.
What's going on in Alaska? Did you
Oh
say
my
hello to
God.
the Ruskies across the water?
I had to wear my parka. It was cold.
I'm sure.
And
It
but
was
it was
cold here. Never mind. You guys, you brought
spectacular.
that art. You brought some Arctic cold down here in Toronto.
Yeah, yeah,
What
yeah, yeah.
happened?
It's spectacular. Gave me a brilliant idea for us. I'll talk to you later about it. But we were on a boat, actually they call it a ship with 2,200 prospects. And
All
I,
wearing blankets?
huh?
All
all
wearing
all
blankets.
trapped and in a position to communicate. It was very interesting. But anyway,
Ah,
two things in what you said in support of that and with what happened with Leo and the reason for the ABCs. Back when I first started selling, I started in the automobile business and I was a car salesman up in Vancouver, Canada. And my job was to take the person that walked in off the street looking for a car, show them a car, and then flip them to the manager in an ABC who would then close them. Now, this ABC stuff this isn't just for network marketing. This is done in all businesses all the time. And it's a technique and a strategy because it's the authoritative person. So when you're developing a relationship with somebody, you have your relationship with them, but an outside voice comes in that's got some altitude, commands a different space for them to look at. But one of the neat things about that happened with Leo last Thursday was the fact that what Michael and I, well, you and I did, Michael, was we created an environment of social, robust communication, knocking off the negativities of our industry and our business and putting out there what the positives were. And what was fascinating about these three folks that signed up and the results that I just now heard is obviously they were looking for something as a solution to their situation in life. And we've said this before that the key to this business is to, find the problem, then present the solution. And the key to present the solution is you got to have your deal dialed in, your story, your goal, your ambition, where you're going, all of those kind of things have to be so dialed in that, it's like when you watch a top-notch play, the actor is you think that's the guy, the role that he's playing. Well, you got to be the same. And that's what the person is going to look at. But what we do and what is so beneficial is we're not their sponsor. We are there as a credibility point, and we've made lots of money, we've built big organizations, we've done all that needs to be done. So anything that comes up that is in their mind, maybe voiced or not voiced, is kind of knocked out of the park really quickly, so then they can focus on what needs to be done to move forward, because that's the reason why they're on the call. So the real intent of, and after we did the call and we got those three people, wrote Michael and I said, yeah, let's do 100 of these, because we need to create a movement in a sense, not a movement in the sense of, a cause or a purpose, but we need to move a large group of people through this system, because that's what makes it work. And if I go back and study the numbers when we first started, we didn't have huge numbers. We didn't have diamonds. We didn't have royal diamonds. We didn't have any of that kind of stuff. It was mostly bronze and silvers. And a couple of the Chinese had really, done well in building this business. So we just got to get that momentum going. But once we get the momentum going, it's just going to topple over like no tomorrow. So these three-way calls and these events on Thursday are really important.
Critical. I'm just going through my photos here, Dave, and I'm wondering um, if I should share with this group what that group's statistics were for the last 30 days. Would anybody want to know that?
Sure.
Yeah. Let's see if I can find them here. Give me one
Yes,
second.
that would be good.
Okay. So this is just obviously, oh, here he is. Okay. So this is to give you an idea of how viable our industry is. Okay. And as I mentioned last week, they're not marketing anything spectacular in terms of products. These are not life-changing products. You're not going to hear testimonials where, oh my God, I couldn't do this and now I can do that. That's not what they do, which is probably an advantage in one regard, because we spend way more time and attention on products than we do on the opportunity. These guys sell network marketing up front and center stage. Okay? So they called it Mission Impossible. No, sorry, Mission Possible. Turn plans into reality in just 90 days. So it was a 90-day campaign that ended on May 31st. Here's what they did. 90-day summary run. 112 million euros in sales. 35,654 new distributors. That's more than all of Niken. in 90 days. 313,523 product orders placed. That's like almost an average of 10 product orders per new distributor. Pretty impressive, isn't it?
Which
That's the
group is
last
this?
90 days. It's a group, doesn't matter which group it is. It's a
Okay,
group
it's
in
a
network
group.
marketing.
A group in network marketing. Okay.
They're in Europe. They're not in North America. And it's just 5 countries they're in, and we're in 12. And so their population density is smaller than ours. And what I'm saying here is this is just these last 3 months. Okay? Not 30 years ago, but these last 3 months. So if you're wondering if network marketing is viable, 35,654 people made a decision to join this team last month alone, or the last 3 months alone. So how many can join our team if we get focused on that activity? If we get focused on campaigning, it took them somebody to say, "Hey, we're going to do this 90-day campaign," and they announced it and they talked about it and they showcased it on their social media, but they got buy-in from their leaders, and that's all they thought about and talked about. 90 days changed their lives. They've changed a lot of lives, I can assure you. With 113 million euro in sales, there's a lot of lives. Half of that's commission. So they paid out almost $60 million in commissions in the last 3 months. You think some lives were changed?
Yes.
So yeah. And I bring that up because if you're wondering what the world is like out there outside of NECAN, if you're wondering what the industry is like out there outside of NECAN, it's very robust, it's very dynamic, it's very possible, as they proved it through Mission Possible, that growth can happen and incredible fast growth can happen when enough people get on the same page and start working like a team. And so this idea of us having 100 ABC calls in 30 days is not inconceivable. It's just a small thing to do. We're 19 people on this call tonight. So if everybody did 5 over the next 30 days, that wouldn't be much, would it? Not much at all. But that would get the job done. That would get the 100. So I'm asking you to commit to a number no less than 5 over the next 4 weeks. And we'll keep scoring. We'll make sure that we'll encourage each other that we get it done. We get it done. Now, the consequences of this, of course, as a business, is what happens is that there are success stories to be had and new people to join NECAN, which, by the way, are welcome to this call. New people are welcome to join this call. This call is for coaching and mentoring, and they're welcome to join this call. Dave, do we have any other segments to go through in the last thing, or did we wrap it up in the last session?
No, we're on the topics that we talked about. We're all wrapped up. I
Okay,
have
cool.
some other topics, but I haven't quite put them together yet.
Okay, so we'll hold them for another time. Obviously, we know this Saturday is important. How many of you are lining up something for this Saturday? This Saturday being the gut health formula launch. Jeannie, that's one hand. 2 hands, Connie. Hey, Connie, are you going in to see my nephew in Chicago? Are you going to that show? It's okay. Oh, there you go.
No, we'll be out of town.
Okay.
But I've told people about it.
Fair
I
enough.
have
Cool.
told
That's
people
fun.
about it. So
That's cool. That's just a distraction. That's just an aside.
that's a
But
very good thing. He's
yeah,
good.
yeah, he's really good. They just released the song on Friday. That's kind of catchy. Anyways, so everybody good with this challenge, this 100 ABC challenge? I want to know, you really into it? Or we don't want to force anybody here. We just want to know whether you want to play this high stakes game of making a difference, putting it on
So,
the
Mike,
line.
I want to talk a bit where I'm at.
Hmm.
We're going Saturday to a funeral. Mary Ellen's brother passed away, so we'll be in Toledo. But anyway.
Our condolences.
Yeah, thank you. Where I'm at is this, and it's hard for me to talk about this because, volume is important, very important. But to me now, for myself, it matters how I get the volume.
Hmm.
Because if and it's hard for me to say this to new people unless I'm looking for different types of new people. And I think the kinds I'm looking for are harder to find because it's easy enough to find people who want to spend their time getting a little volume in and, selling products and maybe finding a few consultants. And maybe that duplicates, but it's not at all what brings in the bigger income. And I'm, I guess because I'm looking for people who are really interested in doing that, it makes take a little time to ramp them up to that. My short-term volume is less, particularly in my personal group, although, the silvers are kicking a little bit. 4 or 5,000 is coming in every month from all the silvers. But I can you understand how I'm like I can't get diamond done by doing everything that I've done so far in the last 20 years. That it's not going to happen.
Okay, pause right
And
there for 1 second. Getting diamond done is a team effort. And it sounds to me like you've been on a solo effort for a long time, but not a team effort. You've not been part of a team effort to go diamond. And
yes,
it's not just you and your team, it's the team of people you've put yourself in to support that campaign, that effort. Let me give an example of this, and I may have used this last week. I did on some call. Oh, I think I may have been on another call. But anyway, so I was up against a wall. I had made a public announcement at an event that Bob Proctor put me on a spot to set a goal in front of, I don't know how many people were at this event, but a lot of them were my downline. And it was to go Royal Diamond. And I decided I was going to do it in tandem with my mother's birthday was a significant thing that I would associate going Royal Diamond with, which was September 27th. And she passed away the year I got involved in Niken. I was about 8 months old in Niken when she passed away. So it was sort of a full circle moment for me to be able to honor her life through me and my success story as Royal Diamond, achieving it on that date. So I set that goal. It was like 5 months out in the future. And it was a huge goal because in order for me to attain that goal, I needed to produce, I can't remember if it was 15 or 18, but at that point in time, it didn't matter. Silvers on my second level, not one single silver identified. And a silver ship at that time was 20,000 points in volume in 1 month.
yeah,
Now, it's one thing for Mike DiMuccio to go out and recruit people and kick them through the uprights in a week and get them to silver. But it's another thing to have first level people do that, duplicate it. And not so easy.
right.
It was a different challenge completely because now it wasn't so much about me, it was about what I could empower others to do. So the first thing I had to do, which is standard protocol, is the first thing I'll tell anybody to do. First thing you do is recruit your team. And what I mean by that is you got to find out who in your current arsenal, who are in the farm team that you're playing with right now, want to go into the pro league. So you got to recruit from within. So the first thing I needed to do was I needed to recruit 3 of my golds to go platinum in those 5 months. Now remember, I had been in Niken 5 years and 5 years and 2 months at that point in time. And some of those golds went gold after a year or two. So they've been gold for 3, 4 years, right? And
Yeah,
maybe some of them it took 3 or 4 years to go gold. So to ask them to go platinum, which was 2 times gold, in 5 months when they had taken their sweet old time going gold, so far it was a completely radical change in behavior and thought process, which is so much more difficult than taking somebody who's brand spanking new and help them go platinum in the same time frame. It's easier for me to work with somebody who knows nothing and set them up for a rocket ship flight to platinum than it is for me to convert somebody who's been around forever and do what what took forever to do in 5 months. Okay, so that was the challenge. It was like, okay, how am I going to overcome this? So the first thing I thought to do was I need an ABC call. I need a call that's going to recruit those frontline golds to go for platinum. But there was one who was the problem. It was the other two wasn't so much a problem. I sensed that they were about ready to do something, but it was this one who wasn't going to play ball because it had to be on their time and on their space and on their da-da-da-da-da. So I have this ABC call and I tell my upline, I recruit my upline. So I get my Royal Diamonds upline on three of them on the call. But I tell them in advance, okay, here's the game plan. Here's what we're going to do. So I recruited my upline to do what I needed them to do. I needed them to run a play in football language. So I said, here's the situation. Here's what we need to do. Here's what I need as an outcome. So we get on this ABC call. My three golds are on the call and my upline Royal Diamonds are on the call. And here it goes. The call goes something like this. I introduce everybody. I thank everybody for coming. And I pass the call to my upline. And one
Can
of
I
the
just
time
ask you, Mike, what did you say to them to get them on the call all together, all
I'm
at
having a
once?
call. You need to be on it. Here's who's on it. We're making a move. You need to be on this call.
Okay.
So they get on the call. And my upline, one after the other, basically said, here's what's happening. Mike is going Royal Diamond on this date. We are 100% behind this, with or without you. I just wanted you to know that, and we wanted you to know first because we wanted you to be the first to know and give you the first right to actually be among the ones we count in this game plan. Because we're doing this, we've already designed the plan, and we just needed you to know that you have first option, but we need to know in 24 hours. So that's what my upline did. They basically put a gun to their head and said, this ship is leaving the port with or without you. You're either part of this or you're not part of this. Doesn't stop us. We're doing this. Now, after this call, I'm obviously giving you the Coles notes and trying to give you the understanding of the meat of this. I hang up the phone from this call. It was a conference call. And as I lift my hand off the phone, it rings. So I pick up the phone and it's the one. It's that one.
Yeah.
And she says, first words out of her mouth, to hell you're going Royal Diamond without me. Fear of loss. Very powerful. And that worked because she got it done with 1 month to spare. So it's powerful when you make a decision and then you assemble your team first and foremost. Now, I did actually have to find somebody and help them go platinum from 0 to platinum, which happened in the same time frame. But it wasn't as difficult as starting with somebody who had been gold for such a long time and moving them from gold to platinum. It's no different than being a silver for such a long time and going gold or platinum. You're in your mind, your identity is a silver. Your identity is stuck at being a silver. You've put that crown on your head and it's so tight that you can't think beyond that. It's a game of the mind. Because I'm proving it to you with the idea of this group in Europe that just did, I mean, the equivalent of how many golds and how many diamonds in that 3-month run. So it's a mindset. They're living in the same world. They're dealing with network marketing as an income opportunity, an income option. They have inferior products. They're just cosmetics. And yet they're playing the game that we want to play. They're playing a game that's a lot of people are winning very, very quickly. Why? Because they're not thinking small. They're not stuck in their head, identified to a rank that they've been hosting for the last 10, 15 years. they're not in the past. They're not even in the present. They are so focused on the future that that's all they're thinking about. And their actions are, are aligned with the thoughts of the future reality. They're not aligned with the present or the past. So their actions, their activity level, and so forth is very high because they're acting like somebody who's got somewhere to go in a hurry. And people around them have a tendency to pay attention when they get a sense that you're going somewhere with or without them.
Mhm.
And so it begins with you having that kind of an attitude that I'm going someplace with or without you. Paul, assemble your team. Assemble your team. Figure out who in your current downline wants to move and be ready to cut ties because you don't have time to waste on people who just want to coast. You're going to have to draw your attention to the future reality and the people that you're attracting in that reality, while those that are coasting continue to coast on their own steam. Because that's how it works.
What if
You
I don't
actually have to be
think
committed to the future.
there's anybody really on that team that,
I don't know.
given,
Honestly, I don't know, but they haven't been pitched either. They haven't been given the opportunity to say
no,
no.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Just to add to that, Paul, um, when I was going from diamond to royal diamond, I needed 3 platinum legs. And I didn't have any, I had 3 people to work with, but I did exactly the same thing. I went to those 3 people and said, I'm going Royal Diamond. Do you want to play? And then in order for me to go Royal Diamond, now this was the key. I had to identify for the benefit for them for helping me and what I would do to help them get to where they want to get to. And again, this comes back to what I said earlier about you got to have your story dialed in. Your game plan, your blueprint, you're building a skyscraper, you got to have the blueprints, you got to have the wherewithal, you got to be able to show them what it is so that because people are followers today. They're less leaders than we've ever had. We've got more followers, so they're looking for being told what to do and taking direction and so on and so forth. But I'm just going to say that in our day, not everybody wanted to play either. We had to, and I was just thinking about this in the sense of if I had an activity to do right now, the biggest activity I would be doing is making as many presentations as I could to as many people out there as I possibly could get my hands on, because all of the people that came into Nikan came in that process. There wasn't a magic bullet, there wasn't a magic ad, there wasn't nothing. It was just people out communicating to other people. Those that saw what they saw joined, and that's how it works. But the key to having those people join is talking to enough people. Many times in my business career, sales and marketing is always the same thing. The more people you talk to, the greater the opportunity you have to get the end result, the sale, whatever you want to call it. So the less it goes, even it's worse when you do less calls, less communication, because then you got few and farther between. So the difference between going full time and part time. When you go part time, there's too much time in between the cycle of start, change, and stop. When you're going full time, you can see somebody today, you can get an ABC going this afternoon, you can take them to a meeting tonight, and you can have them in the business tomorrow. So it's there's a physics law, and it's called speed of particle flow is what determines power. So the faster it goes, the more power is generated. And what Michael is saying with how his plan was and what my plan was, we put in play the actions and the activities and the commitments to go and generate that power, and people joined forces because they wanted the benefit that was there. So just talk to as many people as you can, have your game plan laid out there, know where you're going, get the agreement, And there's plenty of people out there right now that are dying for a way to make money. I heard it on this boat all week.
So, is that the idea? We go take a cruise?
Yeah.
Hey, that sounds like a good idea.
It's a trading cruise. In other words, it's a business expense. You get to write it off because you have the seminars during the day. They have the facilities. They feed you. They have everything taken care of. You get some downtime. You get to see places. There's a gazillion of them, and they're not very expensive.
Wow,
And you've got a ship full of people.
that's an interesting proposition, Dave. Let's talk more about that.
Yeah,
Cool. Yeah, just get in front of enough people, right? But you got to have your story.
that's
You got
right.
to have your story, and you got to know where you're going.
And
So,
and you'll and here's the confidence you gain from telling your story over and over and over and over and over again. You know, I started in the telemarketing industry, oil and gas, and had to pound the phone every day. At first, those pitches were terrible. I was stuttering. I was reading the script from there, but after I did it for about a week, it was ad lib. I could say it where I wanted to. I could attract their attention. You become better at what you're saying. And if you're not practicing and you're not doing that, then you don't get good. It's a very simple business principle. Anyway.
I
Trill.
guess, activity is important, but I'm now interested in a certain type of, I mean, N can be as large as you want, but I'm interested in a certain type of activity.
Okay,
I
so
could have,
Paul, let me just address that because it sounds to me like you just got to bait the hook and you got to use the right bait. So now, I want you to spend the next 24 hours asking yourself this. What question could I ask that will result in a person jumping out of their skin to want to know more or referring me to a person who's super qualified? What kind of question can I ask somebody in 30 seconds? They will be jumping out of their skin wanting to know more, or they will refer me to somebody who's qualified. Now,
I
if you ask
thought,
that question 100 times to strangers,
yeah, I thought, would you like to make, 10,000 a month extra would do it, but it's just it's just words to them. It's just I
would
don't
you
know.
like? Everybody would like. But
Okay.
okay, so I'm doing this and I'm looking for someone to do this with me. Here are the benefits. Do you know anybody who would be interested in talking with me?
Yeah.
And
That
then the next part, Paul, when you ask that question, would I like? Then the answer is, let me show you. And then you lay out your plan. See, but most people don't do that. They ask the question, but they don't know how to answer it.
So in that connection, you get a meeting right away before even sending a video or to sort of test interest, because you don't get that straight, then they start putting you off because they're not, ready to meet, or they have to do little things first to show that they have some interest, like maybe watching a video for the last 3 minutes and getting back to you that being ready to follow up in the next 15 minutes or the
But
next day or something like that.
if you're sending somebody a video before they have identified a want or a need, then I'm not sure exactly what you're expecting the video to do. Because I don't think there's a single video I've ever seen that I could send somebody and have the confidence that sending them that video is going to turn them into somebody who's going to jump out of their skin and want to know more. I've never seen such a video. So there has to be a pretext for that video to have any value and meaning. What's the pretext?
It has to do with, I expose if we've identified a real need that they're willing to work for, or to do something to change.
Okay. So if that's the case and the video is there by design and to address that, then I can understand the placement of the video. But the pretext has to be established. And so I come back to the first question. How is the contact happening? So there's two types of contacts, direct and indirect. Direct is they're on my list. How did they get on my list? I don't know. I met them on a subway. I don't know. Somehow they got onto my list and I pre-qualified them to be on that list. Or I know them from some circle of influence, or I've known them all my life, or they're a friend of a friend, or whatever. They got on my list somehow because I was paying attention. So I have this name on my list that I have some understanding of who that person is and why I would even have them on my list. So that's a planned contact. That's a person I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to call with a very specific agenda. That's a planned contact. Unplanned is somebody I meet along the way or I encounter through a social media of some kind. And I can prompt those unplanned contacts on social media, which is what people are doing these days. You ever see these guys promoting attraction marketing? Hey, don't talk to your upline, blah, blah, blah. Your upline is lying to you and all that stuff, right? Notice you're getting network marketing ads. Have you noticed that? Is it somehow a coincidence that you're getting network marketing ads, you being a network marketer? I don't think so. See, they've targeted you. They've identified your profile, or the AI has, and they've sent those ads to you being a network marketer to attract you to whatever it is they got going on to make money, sell you some digital PDF or whatever. And you give them 15, 20 bucks and they just made money on you. And maybe, just maybe, 1 in 100 will say, hey, what is your deal? And they'll join their deal. So that's the game they're playing. They're playing cold market
Yeah.
prospecting with people who are they've targeted their audience. They're not looking for strangers, they're looking for network marketers. That's why they say, are you in network marketing, or your upline is lying to you? They're targeting you because you're a network marketer and they know it. So
Another
if
thing,
that's
Paul, too, is when I was when I got trained professionally in the corporate world in sales and marketing, you want to control the environment that you're making the presentation in. When you give something to somebody to do on their own, you're not controlling the environment. So they can go any which way but loose. So just when I was playing the game, I never told them what I did until I understood that they were qualified for looking for something for themselves to do. Once I'd established that need, then we could set up, okay, this sounds great. I think you like what I do. Don't have the time right now to do this, but let's get together. When can we talk? And then you set up a meeting and an appointment. If you go to the corporate world, they're going to have you come into their office, or you're going to go to their office and you're going to sit down and you're going to control the environment and the pitch. Now, with what we do, we're looking for three good people, each one of you. That's it. Three good people to help build an organization and a downline. And so it's a process. And so from the standpoint of spending the time to prospect, yeah, prospect your brains out, but what are you prospecting for? Not somebody to join Nikin or to sell Nikin products, but somebody that's interested in being self-reliant on themselves, doing their own business, being an entrepreneur, controlling their time, all of those kind of issues, because those are the key qualities that make the professional in our business. When you listen to what Bliss said, Bliss is the one you've just put out, Michael, right?
yeah.
And he said, this is the career we're in. We're in network marketing and we're a strange breed, but you make this work and it gives you everything you want. And it's exactly true. So the key to, you get somebody on the phone, you find out everything you can about them. Just pretend you're the boss and you're interviewing somebody to come and work for you. You ask them everything under the sun, moon, and stars. Are you married? Are you single? Where do you live? Do you pay a mortgage? What do all of these kind of things, because the more you know about that individual, and then, okay, what do you like? What don't you like? Because again, I can't tell you how many times I gave the person the brochure without qualifying them. I called them back. No, I'm not interested. Wasted money, wasted time, all of that sort of stuff. And it finally took me a while to learn the lesson. Spend the time, qualify them first. What kind of business you're in? I'm in the distribution business. I work for a manufacturer. They're in Los Angeles, and we distribute products in 9 countries around the world. I'm looking to expand the territory. Is that something that might be of interest to you? Do you want to make an extra few bucks, a few thousand, a full-time career? Where are you at in this situation? Blah, 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 blah.
Pause right there, Dave. I want to paraphrase. Okay, so what Dave just did was he created an opportunity for somebody. He referred to what it was he was doing, which is totally exactly what he does. He's distributing products we're in 12 countries, I guess now, but but he didn't mention Nikan. He didn't mention product magnetics. He didn't like it. That's the mechanism. None of that matters until you establish the why would anybody care to look at a mechanism, whatever that mechanism is. So the start with why concept, the why, the why, the why, the why. That's the qualifier. If you find somebody answering that question correctly, like I had a person on the phone on the ABC call, and I asked them, I think it was Leo's call, and I said, if they had said probably something with their back, I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you about getting rid of that back problem? He said 9. I said, that's your problem. It's not a 10. Why isn't it a 10? Now, if I wasn't paying attention, I might have thought, oh, 9, that's really good. Oh, we could probably help you with that. No, I can't. Until that person is committed 100% to the solution, I don't have a solution. No solution will solve their problem. So you got to get to that 10. And I'm telling you, I think what's changed in the world is there's more passiveness in people. There's less ambition because they have been so beaten down. What COVID did to people was one example of many of really pounding them to a point of not even having an opinion, being afraid to have an opinion, right? And so, God forbid you actually have an opinion, and not, you're looking over your shoulder and you're whispering to the person because you don't even know how they're going to react. So that's affected people psychologically. But do you have time for that? No.
No.
Right. So the numbers are going to change. If it was 1 in 100 5 years ago, maybe it's 1 in 300 now. So you got to find a way to get to more people quicker. But those people are out there as evidence of the group that just did 113
Yeah.
million euro in 3 months. They're out there. What are these people doing that's so fantastical? Nothing. They are just getting to the point faster with people, more people. They're finding their tribe, period. They're just better at it because they're not wasting time trying to save everybody. There's no saving anybody here. All there is finding people who want answers, who want solutions, and are prepared to do something about it. That's it. That's all we got. That's the difference between the edge and just floating along happy-go-lucky. Sherrill, let's get to you, and then Bela.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I'm still doing my one question survey. So I'm still going out. I'm still asking people, same question, different people. Okay, so at this time, there are at least 10 people on my list now that have asked me, well, what is this for? I tell them I'm doing a communications class, and this is one of my assignments. That's what I use when I was doing the smart network. So that's what I use. It works. It satisfies them, and they give me the answers they give me the answer that I'm looking for. Now, can I use? So I'm going to be talking to those 10 people. Can I use this card to ask them to identify something on this balance wheel?
Yeah, I do all
To
the
give them
time.
the invitation for the 15-minute business call
I
that you
do
made?
all the time. This is the one thing that has always been front and center stage of everything I've ever done in Nikan when it came to prospecting. I can even do it on the phone. Hey, Sherrill, I know we don't know each other very well, but before we actually get into all of this, it's really helpful if I know a little bit more about you. So let me ask you, if you don't mind, to answer this question. It's a simple question. I'm going to say 5 words out loud, and I'm going to say it twice so you know the words. And then you're going to just tell me which 2 words jump out at you, okay? So is that all right?
Yes.
Okay, here goes. Body, mind, family, society, finances. Let me repeat that. Body, mind, family, society, finances. Which 2 words jumped out at you?
Finances and mind.
Finances and mind. Okay, I like that. Let's start with mind. Why did it jump out at you?
Because it's something that I think
Now,
needs to stay sharp.
okay, cool. So you've obviously got context here, so you know what we're talking about, what I'm leading you to. But if you were a perfect stranger, you'd tell me something about that. Then I'd go to finances. I always go to that one last. And I would ask you, well, why did that jump out at you? And then you're going to tell me something. Now, the more I dig into what you've told me and I'm going to find out that there are two underlying needs in your life: peace of mind and financial assuredness or security. That's what this is going to reveal, this 5 minutes or 3 minutes that we talk. I say, Sherelle, sounds like these are two things that would be really important to you. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yes.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how seriously would you be about moving the dial on that?
10.
Wow. Okay. I like what I hear. Sounds to me, based on what you've just told me and what it is that I know, I may have something that could fit the bill. Would you be interested in looking at it?
Yes.
Okay. How many people can I do this with?
As
5
many
words.
as possible.
Yeah. All you're doing is you're telling me what I need to know so I can sell it to you. Find out
Thank
what
you.
they want to buy and sell it to them. And then Nikan is just the mechanism to cross the bridge. Bela.
Hi. Michael, I wanted to ask you as a newbie, for these ABC calls, what exactly should I be prepared with or prepare my people that I've qualified for it? What do I need to do before I get to the ABC call?
If you've listened to the contact and invite audio, you would know the answer to that question. If you studied the contact and invite audio, you
I've
would know
listened
the
to it,
answer
but I
to that
haven't
question.
studied it. Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Because it tells you exactly how to introduce the ABC. In fact, you don't get off your introductory call without scheduling the ABC. That's the
Okay.
point of that
But
call.
I did that before and it didn't work out. So that's why I'm asking that I did something wrong, obviously.
No, there's never something wrong. There's always something better, number one. Two, and there's better prospects as well. So if you're going to only measure something in a very small sampling, 2 people, 3 people, 5 people, that's not enough to give
Okay.
you an accurate assessment. So what our numbers are very accurate. We know 30 people presented to, 30 people wanting to be presented to will result in a silver ship if it's done in a month. We know that. With my eyes closed, with my hands tied behind my back, I know that. So, what Leo's got is a person who just made 30 contacts.
Right.
Where do you think that person is headed?
Silver.
As a consequence. But Leo's smart enough to know silver is not an objective. We don't want silver as a goal. We want gold because if you're going for gold, you're going to break through silver.
Okay. Right.
It's like winning the race. You go through the line, you go through the ticket,
Not up to the
gate,
line.
not up to it.
Right. Get it. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. This is good conversation, guys. And I if it sounds like we're being a little heavy or hard or sure or whatever, it's not because we're intending to be mean in any way. It's because you really need to brush it up. You need to sharpen the axe. It's gotten so dull. You've gotten too comfortable in the milieu of of indifference and dealing with people who have become indifferent. I like to push people over the edge. I just like to push them over the edge. That's what I love to do because I think if you're, as Bob Proctor would say, if you're not standing on the edge, you're taking up too much space. You got to be on the edge of life. You got to be on the edge to be alive. And if you're passive about it, I'm not interested in spending another minute with you. My life has only so many seconds. At the end of my life, we will have been able to count the number of seconds I've been on planet Earth breathing. I don't want to waste any of those seconds with people who have absolutely no interest in improving their situation in life. And if they got it going on and they're happy, great, but I'm not there for this. I'm not here to pat you on the back. Good job, nice job. It's like, where are we going next? Next. Well, I'm on the edge, baby. What's next? Dave, last words and we'll wrap up.
Yeah, just on that note, whatever it is that you want as a result of being involved here, you have to know what that is made up of. So, for example, if you want to be a platinum and you need 30,000 points a month, then how many golds and silvers do you have to have in your organization? How much volume do you have to create? Because that's what you want. So when you're out there beating the bush, you're going to go after what you want. Now you do that as the focus of your goal. And how do you do that? By finding people who identify with what you want and they want the same thing. And that's what we call this duplicative process of, one tells the next person and the next person tells the next person, why are everybody on planet Earth wearing blue jeans or, untucked shirts or whatever the case may be, because somebody told somebody who told somebody who told somebody. The cell phone. Why did the cell phone work? Because somebody told somebody who told somebody, and everybody said, "Oh, this is a neat toy, and let's do it." So it works the same way. But if you don't have what you need identified, then it's hard to go and look for what you don't know you're looking for. So it's really important. So again, I'm going Royal Diamond. I need 3 platinums. Well, I had 3 people. So what's first? I had to get them to silver. I had to get them to gold, then get them to platinum. But I had to have the agreement that they wanted to play the game. So that's what I needed. The next step that I had to do is get them to agree to do that because that's what they wanted. So it's a two-pronged process. So if you don't know what you want, it's very difficult to go find it. Know what you want, then it's easy to find. Then when you're out there looking, you ask the question, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for. There
Okay,
you go.
guys, we have to wrap up. Randy Gage is the person I was talking about, another networker that I really like paying attention to. Duplication Nation is his thing. Randy Gage, network marketer. And we've got the kickoff call starting in 2 minutes. And final thing with respect to exactly what Dave is saying, as far as knowing what you want. You know, you got to know what you want. And if you're thinking about, oh, I have to do 30,000 points. I've only done 3,000 points. That's the wrong attitude. That's the wrong attitude. If you're thinking with your mind and your spirit and your vibration that this is a hard thing, it's a hard thing. If you're thinking it's an easy thing, it's an easy thing. If you're thinking it's just a thing, it's just a thing. How are you characterizing all of this? Because you're creating the reality you're living in. I'm living in abundance. Are you? I know what it feels like because I live it every day. You got to start living it in your head and your mind every day. Start reading the books that get you there. Because if you're not getting there every single day, you're not going to get there on your own. I'm sorry, it just doesn't happen that way. You need inspiration, you need faith, and it's got to come from somewhere else. So find it, lock it in, and go after your dreams because that's the only thing worth living for. You came here to play those games, to live your dreams, not somebody else's, yours. So live. How tall does a tree grow? As tall as it can. See you on the call.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.